I have figured out the secret to staying in abundance mindset permanently, and it's so simple. You're gonna think, how the heck did I not think of this before? So, if you are someone who wants to experience more abundance, more joy, you want to call in better, juicier relationships and opportunities into your life, but you kind of fall on and off the wagon. Some days you're really great in abundance mindset, and then one thing happens, and then all of a sudden you want to throw everything out the window. How do we fix our relationship with abundance? I'm going to tell you this weird little secret, if you want to call it that I figured out a while ago that helped me change from being this really inconsistent person with my mood and mindset to someone who is more consistently abundant on a regular basis. Let's dive in right after this intro. Welcome to the Inner Child Podcast. Now with 2 million downloads, I help high achievers recover from painful relationships and childhood trauma. Let's heal together on Season 2 of the Inner Child Podcast. Hey bestie, welcome back to the Inner Child Podcast. I am your host, Gloria Zhang. I'm a therapist, I'm an author, a relationship coach, and today we are hanging out in my living room. That is, if you are watching the animated version on YouTube, I thought it would be a nice change of scenery, and I feel a lot more comfortable. It's just, hanging out on my couch, and it's sort of like we're just chit-chatting in my living room having a conversation. So here we are. Now, today wasn't necessarily a planned episode, but a ton of my students really wanted me to talk more about abundance since I had run a workshop on it with some of my clients. And more specifically, they wanted to know how I changed as a person from someone who was super inconsistent with my routine, with my mood and my mindset, to someone now who's able to consistently on a regular basis be in a positive mindset, put out content and work regularly, and maintain consistency and balance in my various relationships. And I will say it was not easy. And as you're listening to this, just know that my journey took many years, and it's not something that just changes overnight. But if I were to trace things back to the beginning, there was one particular realization, one huge insight I had that sparked the biggest spurt of growth I had in myself. And it was something that was almost so obvious that I missed it. And you're probably going to feel that same way too when I tell you exactly what it is. That as soon as I reframed everything about mindset and healing and abundance into this specific metaphor, everything made sense to me and I knew exactly what I had to work on. And I'm really excited to share that with you guys today. So whether you want to call in a beautiful relationship, you want to attract more money or financial stability into your life, maybe you want to attract more abundance in your experience of joy, of pleasure, you want to have more time and freedom. Abundance, I believe, is our natural state of being. And the problem with having inner child wounds from childhood is that we're so used to being in lack, in scarcity, of not having enough love, of not having enough care or affection, that our entire brain becomes wired to think in terms of not enoughness. And then it becomes really hard to believe that we deserve more, that we are capable of attracting more, or that we have the ability to hold more things in our lives. And if you've ever done any of my courses or programs or read my book, specifically this book that I wrote, you will know that my entire methodology rests on the feel, heal, and attract system. So feel, heal, and attract is the process that everybody has to go through if they want to successfully heal from patterns and trauma in the past. And it's not optional. You have to go through these steps. They're basically like the stages of development. And the reason why attract comes last is because we need to go through the process of healing first before we're able to get to the later stage of attracting more into our lives. So attracting goes hand in hand with abundance because you can't attract and draw new things into your life if your internal world is not set to the dial of abundance. In other words, if you don't believe that you can bring in better things, how is it going to happen? So, today we are going to talk all about this number one secret to staying in abundance. Oh, and by the way, since we're here, look at what I got Andrew. I'm showing this to you on YouTube. He really wanted a daily journal, and I thought I would buy one for him. And I went to the store and they had a Baby Yoda journal. It's beautiful. Look at that. Anyways, I just wanted to show you. I thought it was hilarious. He had no choice, but he uses it every day. So it was a great purchase. Anyways, journaling is another great way of increasing abundance. But let's get to the point. So what I figured out is the main reason why so many people struggle to have a healthy, consistent relationship with abundance is because, write this down, they do not love life unconditionally. You have an insecure attachment style with life and with universe and with abundance. Okay, let's just pause on this note for a second. So many people listening probably, you probably have an anxious attachment style with life or an avoidant attachment style or most likely a disorganized attachment style with life itself. That anytime the slightest, smallest thing happens, you kind of react to it and then push back and say, I hate life, my life sucks, right? And you start to unravel at every little thing that comes up in life and you think, I am trying to manifest this. Why is this additional thing happening? What do you think is going to happen in a relationship where we punish every little small thing that comes up? When we want to throw the entire relationship away every time something odd or unclear happens? Well, they're not going to want to be in a relationship with you. And that is exactly what we do with our relationship with life. Here is a perfect example everybody probably goes through. Let's say you start listening to this podcast and you start to realize, oh my gosh, my family is really toxic or my friend group is really mean to me. I want to call in or manifest more lovely and kind people into my life. So you put that intention out there, and then the week after, your toxic sister stops calling you. And then you think, oh my God, my family doesn't want to talk to me anymore. Oh my gosh, my friends don't want to call me anymore. I'm a horrible person. This healing stuff doesn't work. None of this works. I'm going to throw it all out the window. But then when you take a step back, you realize that that is exactly what you called in. In order for newer, better things to come into your life, we need to make room for it. We cannot pour into an empty cup. And the thing that you thought was going backwards, and you start making a story out of why my parents aren't calling me anymore, no one's inviting me to reunions anymore, when in reality, you have set into motion this new intention of wanting to attract better people into your life. And so you can't want healthier relationships while holding on to those terrible relationships, right? But the thing is, if you don't recognize what's really happening, which is the universe is stepping in, life or God or source, whatever you want to name it, is stepping in to save you from the very thing that is hurting you. If you don't recognize what is actually happening, then you're going to loop that into an old story of nobody likes me, life hates me, nothing ever works out for me. you see what happens? You go back on your word, and then you go back to the old friends or the old family. You get sucked into the very thing that was hurting you in the first place. And then we start to wonder, oh, gee, why can't I stay in abundance mindset? Oh, gee, why isn't manifesting working? You get the drift? So that is exactly what we need to be working on. Knowing that abundance, manifesting even, is not a one-time thing that happens. It is an entire relationship that we're trying to recultivate with life, with the universe. And if you don't think that your relationship with the universe has anything to do with this, if you think, I should just write in a journal a couple times a day, I should just, go to a couple therapy sessions and things will work itself out, then somebody needs to re-listen to episode number 67, How to Manifest Desires into Reality. Okay? It's got everything to do with it. If it wasn't for life and the universe, you wouldn't even exist. It's the whole point of this. You are the microcosm inside the macrocosm. Everything you desire and wish for comes out of life, comes out of the universe. Okay, so we need to fix our relationship to it. Not just throw more things out there, throw more affirmations, throw more this and that, hammers and screwdrivers at it, but really looking at what current relationship, what attachment style do I currently have with life itself? And that will give me some keys on what to start working on. And that was huge for me because I noticed I made the connections that not only did I have a disorganized attachment style in my intimate relationships, which I've spoken about ad nauseum on this podcast, but I also had a disorganized attachment style with life itself. I would some days just completely avoid and ignore life, and other days would get really obsessed about what was happening today, what was happening tomorrow. Okay? And if we are to truly love ourselves unconditionally and love others unconditionally, then we have to love life unconditionally. And that means when life happens, right, when economy crashes hit, when we get negative feedback from our jobs, when our favorite Chinese restaurant runs out of noodles and now we have to go to the pizza shop across the street, right? When things happen, we cannot weave that into a story of this is bad and that is good. But that life and all parts of life have to be things where we're able to see the deeper lesson behind it. Maybe the reason why you weren't meant to be at that Chinese restaurant today is because, I don't know, they had an outbreak of something and you would have gotten sick. And if you had gotten sick from going to that restaurant, then you would have stayed home for 2 weeks. Therefore, you would not have been able to go to that speed dating event that your friend wanted to go to. And maybe on the way to that speed dating event, you would have bumped shoulders with a stranger, and that stranger would have turned out to be your future fiance. Right? Like there could be an entire chain of events that we just have no idea in our small human minds, just cannot comprehend how it would weave into our lives and how it's all interwoven into the bigger picture, the bigger plan of how desires are manifested into our lives. All right? And so what may feel like an inconvenience or a rejection, maybe it's just redirection to something that is actually aligned for you. If you want to have better connections with people, then it's a good thing that your toxic family didn't invite you to Thanksgiving dinner, because otherwise you would have just gotten pulled back into their BS again. And the universe is doing you a favor. And I know, and I say this to my clients all the time, because I know that in the moment, it is so hard and sometimes really annoying to hear this from people, but I'm only saying it because it's true. That you have to hold on to the bigger vision, the ability to see beyond what is happening in this microscopic level. And just know and trust that when you set your intentions, you have to believe that things, no matter how inconvenient they seem right now, when done with good intention, will ultimately lead you to where your heart's desire is going to be. The universe is going to conspire and co-create with you. Just like the stock market. If you analyze the ups and downs of a particular stock on a daily or hourly basis, you will lose your marbles. You'll see that one day it goes down $2, the next day it goes up $50. But if you sell your stocks every time you do a little dip, you're never going to see a return on your investment. And we know that consistently over time, despite the regular daily dips and valleys, people will make more money. They will get a gain on their investment. Well, that is if you diversify your portfolio over an extended period of time. And the universe works the same way. Okay? So here is my call to action for today. Number 1, figure out what attachment style you have with the universe. Go to Google, do a Google search for any attachment style quiz. And when you fill out that quiz, pretend that you're doing that quiz and answering those questions about your relationship with life. And I bet so many of you will come out with an insecure attachment style. And that's going to tell you a lot on what to work on. And call to action number 2, start practicing unconditional love with the universe. Follow the Taoist saying, the good and the bad are both good. You had a rainy day? Let's try to see the silver lining in it. You got laid off from your job? Go ahead and grieve it first, but then try to see the bigger picture and see if you can find some meaning or bigger truth or lesson behind any of the ups and downs in life. And you are going to find that once you start loving life unconditionally, you're going to start loving yourself unconditionally. You're going to start loving many things in your life unconditionally, and you will become untouchable, and you will become someone who is able to look back on your childhood trauma and see that you made it. That happiness wasn't the goal, but that happiness was the way, and that you got to make the choices yourself. It was entirely within your hands. And that, my friend, is really one of the secrets behind manifesting. And being able to hold that vibration or that frequency more consistently by looking at it as a relationship. So I hope that it was helpful. And by the way, if you want me to do another episode more on abundance mindset and manifesting the things that you want, just go ahead and let me know in the comments below, or if you have other suggestions. And if there are enough people interested, then we may go ahead and do just that. But other than that, we've got a lot of really great episodes coming out in season 2, including how to deal with vulnerability hangovers, what to do if you really want to rescue someone from their pain, but you know that you can't, and so much more. So my loves, mwah, love you lots, and I'll see you in the next episode.